What happens when we die? Let's go to basic biology. Our body starts to decompose, the heart stops beating, and the brain shuts down. At least that's what we're used to seeing from the outside. But what if that doesn't happen? Many people have had near-death experiences, and some reported seeing a bright white light, feeling their body project, meeting people who had already died, and having the sensation of reliving memories from their lives. This phenomenon, known as the near-death experience, has challenged science for a long time. Could experiencing something like this be related to psychological defense mechanisms, or are they hallucinations? Could these stories prove that death is reversible? We don't know yet, but if you want, we can explore this subject a little more. Here are 5 near-death experiences that will shake your beliefs. Number 1, Colton Burpo. Colton was only 3 years old when his appendix burst and the infection spread throughout his body. He had to be rushed to the hospital, and his parents feared for the life of their young son. After the surgery was successfully completed, his parents took him home. But it wasn't until a few months later that they discovered what young Colton had experienced. In that operating room, no one knew what to think when they heard what he had to say. The first person he saw was Jesus, wearing a white robe, with marks on his hands and feet. Colton also saw his grandfather, whom he had never met because his grandfather had passed away when Colton's father was still a child. Later, he asked his mother about a sister she had never told him about, and she was confused because she only had 2 children, Cassie and Colton. But the boy said, "I have 2 sisters, Mom. You had a baby who died in your belly." "I know because she told me." His parents were amazed by his account. This story was so moving that it became a book called Heaven is for Real. Number 2, Rita Isabel, or Rita, a teacher from southern Brazil, shared that she had a near-death experience during the birth of her daughter. The surgery was risky because Rita had fallen down the stairs when she was 8 months pregnant. She said, "While lying on the stretcher, I felt my body being pulled strongly toward a very bright light. Then I saw a beautiful place with many people walking and talking around. I was sure it was paradise because the place was so beautiful. Suddenly, I heard a voice saying that I needed to go back because my children needed me. Then I was pulled back into my body on the hospital stretcher." Shortly afterward, a nurse told Rita that she had been considered dead because her vital signs had stopped. This story had been a secret, and Rita had never told anyone before. The first time she shared it was during an interview on Global Reporter in 2012. Number 3, Alexander Eben. In 2008, 54-year-old neurosurgeon Alexander Eben contracted a rare form of bacterial meningitis. Just hours later, he went into a deep coma and remained in that state for 7 days. To him, death always meant the end of everything. There was nothing after. But he had to go through this experience to completely change his mind. It was during this time in a coma that the doctor claimed to have had the most unbelievable experience a person could have. He said, "On my journey, there was no body, just my consciousness. My brain wasn't working, and I didn't remember anything about my personal life, my children, or who I was. First, I was taken to a dark, muddy place, and then I arrived at a beautiful and peaceful place, a vast valley, very green, full of flowers and butterflies. I also saw a beautiful spirit, a woman in simple clothes with wings." His account was so intense that he wrote a book to tell his story, titled Proof of Heaven. The doctor stated that for 2 years, he tried to find a scientific explanation for what happened, but he concluded that there is no way to explain it. It wasn't a hallucination or a dream. Number 4, Anita Moorjani. In 2002, Anita was diagnosed with cancer and underwent chemotherapy for 4 years. After that period, her body stopped responding to treatment and the cancer spread. When doctors said she was in organ failure, her body could no longer fight the disease. While hospitalized, Anita had a near-death experience. She said, "I met my best friend who had died of cancer. I couldn't be with her when she passed, and that made me very sad. But seeing her there made me feel incredibly well. It was a huge relief. I also had the choice to return or move forward to death. It was so beautiful there that I didn't want to leave, but then I felt that if I came back, my body would be healed. And so I woke up in the hospital." Anita didn't know that she had been in a coma, but she was able to see everything in the operating room and described the people there and everything they did to her. The doctor was surprised when she recognized him immediately, even though she hadn't regained consciousness in the operating room. Within days, Anita's condition improved so quickly that she was discharged from the hospital, and to everyone's surprise, there was no trace of cancer in her body. Number 5, Christine Stein. Christine suffered a serious car accident and was rushed to the hospital. She had internal bleeding and a large cut on her aorta. The doctors worked hard to stop the bleeding near her heart when suddenly her heart stopped. Then Christine said that her body left that place and somehow she arrived at a brightly lit, beautiful place. She said, "The place I ended up in was like Earth, only the colors were brighter and more welcoming. The ground felt like cotton, and I know this because I wasn't wearing shoes. I heard someone calling my name and then saw 2 people walking toward me. They were my grandparents, whom I had only seen in a few family photos because they had passed away many years ago. The surgeon who treated Christine almost lost her on the operating table. He and his team had to use several methods to stabilize her vital signs again. Christine said that she could see herself on the operating table and also heard the surgeon say, 'We did it. We brought the girl back to life.' After about 2 hours, the surgery was finished, and the doctor reported that the young woman woke up crying, which is very unusual in this type of situation. Christine firmly stated that she didn't dream about these images. Everything was truly lived in some way. We hope you enjoyed today's video, and rest assured, much more awaits you in the next video here on the channel. See you there, bye.